An old silver ring, a secret letter, and an unwanted marriage. These are the sparks that ignite a journey you won't be able to look away from. Claire Harper, a simple girl, is thrust into the arms of Jameson Caldwell, a cold-hearted millionaire who holds the darkest secret of her family. But what if the one you fear most is the only one protecting you? What if a promise, seemingly meaningless, unlocks a truth that shatters every wall? This story isn't just a marriage. It's a labyrinth of secrets, sacrifices, and unexpected love, where each twist sends your heart racing. Can Claire trust the man carrying the weight of her past? Or will that secret destroy everything? Watch to uncover a tale that will haunt you long after it ends. If you're captivated by emotional millionaire stories, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you don't miss the next journey. Don't stop here. The story is only just beginning. Standing in the heart of a magnificent room, where the light from an enormous crystal chandelier shatters into 1,000 glittering fragments, as if the night sky itself were imprisoned on the ceiling. Yet instead of warmth, your heart freezes, icy and numb, as cold as the polished marble floor beneath unfamiliar shoes. This is where Claire Harper, a simple girl raised on the quiet streets of the suburbs, finds herself trapped on what is called her wedding day. No joyous laughter echoes. No gentle violin melodies float through the air. No loving glances brim with affection. There is only a pristine white wedding dress, stiff and unyielding. A stark reminder that it does not belong to her. A bouquet of pale white roses, their scent so overpowering it chokes her. And a marriage certificate lying on the table, as cold and sharp as a verdict. Claire clutches the bouquet tightly. The soft petals brush against her palms, but they offer no comfort. Their fragrance stirs memories of the small garden behind her mother's house, where Sunday mornings were filled with off-key humming and the scent of flower. The memory crashes over her like a wave, making her legs tremble even more. She closes her eyes, desperate to cling to the image of her mother. But the chandelier's harsh light yanks her back to reality, a reality she did not choose, does not want, and cannot comprehend. She stands there, in the sprawling mansion of the Caldwell family, every detail from the intricately carved columns to the thick, opulent rug screaming power and distance. Everything, except Claire. A few steps away, a man appears, not entering, but invading the space. Jameson Caldwell, a mysterious millionaire with a presence as sharp as if carved from stone. His tailored black suit fits perfectly, accentuating every rigid line of his frame. His eyes, cold as steel forged in ice, never once meet Claire's. No smile graces his lips. No glance acknowledges her existence. His jaw clenches tightly, as if restraining a storm within. He moves with ruthless precision, each step echoing on the marble floor like the beat of a fateful drum. Claire senses his presence before he even draws near. Not warmth, but a chilling draft, as if he carries winter itself into the room. A man in a black suit, standing by the table with an impassive face, slides the marriage certificate toward Claire. His voice is dry, like gravel scraping together. Sign it. No priest presides. No vows overflow with emotion. No family gathers to bear witness. There are only documents, black ink, and a stark transaction. Claire grips the pen, her right hand trembling so fiercely, she must clench it to keep it steady. Her signature falls onto the paper, small and faint, as if she herself is trying to vanish. She swallows hard, her throat parched, feeling as though she has just sold a piece of her soul. Then it is Jameson's turn. He steps forward, without hesitation, without a single glance her way. The pen in his hand moves like a blade, leaving a sharp, clean signature, as if he is accustomed to ending things with a single stroke of ink. One stroke. Done. The man in the black suit collects the papers, muttering, "Complete." The word rings out like a cruel jest, as if this could be called a wedding. No applause erupts, no glasses are raised, no kiss is exchanged under the lights. There is only silence, thick and oppressive, pressing against Claire's chest like an unbreakable curse. She lifts her head, summoning a flicker of courage to look at Jameson. But he has already turned away, his tall figure disappearing through the doorway. He leaves her standing alone under the chandelier's unforgiving glare, feeling like a lost guest at her own execution. Claire hugs the bouquet tightly, the white roses pressing against her chest, as if they are the only thing keeping her from dissolving. In her mind, a question repeats, sharp as the thorns of the flowers. Why? Why did the promise to keep her family together, the promise her mother whispered while slipping on a silver ring, lead her here, to a place devoid of love, devoid of hope? She stands there, small and solitary, like a lamb strayed into a lion's den, unaware that she has just stepped into a story far greater, a story where secrets will unravel everything she ever believed. After the frigid wedding ceremony, time drifts by in a hazy fog. Hours later, or perhaps only minutes, Claire can no longer be certain. She is led through the vast corridors of the Caldwell mansion, where each footstep echoes like a stark reminder of her alienation. The butler, with an expressionless gaze, opens a door to an opulent bedroom. Ivory walls shimmer under dim, ethereal light. Towering windows reveal a pitch-black night, and silk bedsheets, smoother than satin, gleam with a luxury far surpassing the modest wooden house where Claire grew up. Yet this room does not welcome her. It is cold, as if the walls themselves know she is an outsider, an uninvited guest in this dazzling world. Claire sinks onto the edge of the bed, her hands clasped tightly, nails digging into her palms as if grasping for a shred of reality. The wedding dress clings to her, rigid and foreign, a mocking symbol of this day. She wonders if Jameson Caldwell, the man with the piercing, icy gaze who just became her husband, will cross this threshold, or has she been abandoned, a misplaced piece in his flawless puzzle? The silence in the room presses heavily on her chest, each passing second stretching into an eternity. She feels small, fragile, like a flickering candle before a gust of wind. Then, her eyes catch something peculiar on the nightstand. Amid the room's grandeur, the intricate carvings, the silvery glint of a mirror's frame, a small, rough wooden box sits out of place, like an ink stain on an oil painting. It does not belong here. The wood is weathered, unpolished, unadorned, as if brought from another world, a world more akin to hers. Claire reaches for it, her fingers tracing the coarse surface, feeling an odd warmth in the wood, a stark contrast to the room's chill. Her heart beats faster, a vague premonition rising within her, as if she is about to touch something from which there is no turning back. With trembling hands, Claire lifts the lid, the faint creak of the hinges sounding like a whisper in the darkness. Inside, on a faded crimson velvet lining, lies her mother's old silver ring. That ring, with its faint scratches and gentle silver glow, is something she thought was lost forever in the chaotic days when her mother was hospitalized. Claire's breath catches, trapped in her throat. She presses a hand to her chest, her heart pounding so fiercely she fears it might shatter. Memories flood back. Her mother wearing the ring, running her fingers over it while sharing stories of love and promises, mornings in their tiny kitchen filled with the scent of fresh-baked bread. The ring is more than an object. It is a fragment of her mother, her family, herself. But then, another detail freezes her in place. Beside the ring, neatly folded on the velvet, is a small piece of paper, bearing her mother's soft, familiar handwriting. The graceful curves, the delicate loops. Claire would recognize them anywhere. Yet what stops her breath is the line at the top. To Jameson Caldwell. His name. The enigmatic man who just signed his way into her life. Written in her mother's own hand. Why? When? The questions stab at her like sharp knives, relentless and unforgiving. How long has her mother known him? Why would she write to him, a man Claire only met in the cold detachment of their wedding? Claire presses the letter to her chest, feeling as though she has touched a secret too vast, too dangerous to unveil. That fragile piece of paper weighs heavily, as if it holds an entire world she is not ready to face. Tears well up, but she holds them back, gripping the letter tightly, as if it is the only thing keeping her from dissolving. She whispers into the darkness, her voice trembling. "Mom, why?" But the room offers no reply. The silence envelops her, thick and oppressive, as if the ivory walls are guarding their own secrets, waiting for the moment to reveal them. Claire sits there, clutching the letter in the ring, feeling as though she has stepped into a labyrinth where the only way out lies in the lines she dares not read. That secret, she knows, will change everything. But does she have the courage to face it? Dawn creeps through the thick silk curtains of the opulent bedroom, but its pale light brings no warmth. Claire stirs, the crumpled wedding dress clinging to her body, a bitter reminder of yesterday, the day she became the wife of a stranger. She hasn't slept, not truly. Each time she closes her eyes, her mother's letter, with its soft handwriting addressed to Jameson Caldwell, haunts her like a specter. She hasn't opened it, not yet brave enough to face the secrets hidden in those lines. But her mother's silver ring, now resting on her finger, weighs heavily, an anchor keeping her from drifting lost in this storm of emotions. A sharp, cold ring of the telephone slices through the room's stillness. The voice on the other end is curt, devoid of feeling. 15 minutes. The plane is waiting. Claire rises, her legs trembling as if the floor might collapse beneath her at any moment. She slips the ring tighter, feeling the cool silver against her skin, a quiet reminder of her mother, of home. The letter she leaves on the nightstand. That fragile piece of paper is too dangerous to carry, as if touching it might shatter everything she's struggling to hold together. The journey to the airport is a suffocating silence. Inside the sleek black limousine, Claire sits across from Jameson, the space between them vast as an abyss. He stares out the window, his face carved from stone, not once glancing her way. The early morning light skims across his high cheekbones and the taut line of his clenched jaw, but it does nothing to soften his aloofness. Claire longs to scream, to shatter the silence with the questions burning in her chest. Who are you? Why did my mother know you? Why am I here? But the words catch in her throat, and she remains still, her hands twisting in her lap, feeling smaller than ever, like a leaf caught in a gust. The private jet looms on the tarmac, gleaming like a steel predator, its engines roaring as if eager to devour her. Claire ascends the steps, her legs shaking, each one pulling her further from herself. She doesn't look back. There's nothing to see. No family, no friends, no one waving goodbye. Only emptiness. Jameson follows, his footsteps steady, rhythmic, unwavering, as if he's accustomed to passing through doors that slam shut. When the plane's door closes, the metallic hiss rings out like a verdict, as if it has sealed her old life away forever. Inside the cabin, luxury envelops her. Plush leather seats, polished wooden tables, and soft light from small windows. But the air is heavy, pressing against her skin, making each breath a struggle. Jameson sits opposite, a distance just wide enough to feel like an ocean. He pulls out his phone, fingers gliding swiftly, ignoring her as if she's an invisible ghost. Claire watches him, searching for a crack, a sign that he, too, feels the weight of yesterday. but he is motionless, his face impassive, only the slight tightening of his lips hinting at any tension. Then, a small detail steals her breath. On the wooden table between them, a folded piece of paper lies quietly, as if it has been waiting for her all along. Claire doesn't mean to look, but her eyes are drawn to the fine print. St. Mary's Medical Center, paid in full. The date on the receipt is 3 months ago. Her breath catches, her heart pounding so fiercely she fears it might break her ribs. That was her mother's hospital, where her father once stood outside the billing office, pale and whispering that they couldn't afford it, that they would lose everything. But that debt, that insurmountable bill, was paid, before Claire even knew the name Jameson Caldwell. She looks up, her gaze locking onto Jameson. He remains still, eyes fixed on his phone, but a faint clench of his jaw, almost imperceptible, tells her he knows she's watching. What is this secret? Why did he pay for her mother's care? Who is he in her family's story? Questions surge like a tidal wave, but she cannot speak. Instead, she sits there, her hand gripping the silver ring, feeling as though she has just brushed against a piece of a larger picture, a puzzle she's not ready to see in full. The plane surges forward, hurtling her into the tempest of secrets yet to be uncovered. The penthouse in Los Angeles is an alien world, as if Claire has stepped into a painting crafted from glass and light. Massive glass walls stretch from floor to ceiling, unveiling a cityscape that glitters like millions of jewels under the night's glow. But this beauty is merely a facade. The air inside the apartment is heavy, thick, as if designed to imprison secrets rather than offer solace. Claire stands by the window, her silhouette reflected on the icy glass, faint and trembling, like a ghost lost in her own life. Jameson, the enigmatic man who is now her husband, vanished into his study the moment they arrived, leaving her alone with a stifling silence. The door slammed shut behind him, a silent decree that she does not belong in his world. Not now. Perhaps never. In the pocket of Claire's coat, her mother's letter lies still, that fragile piece of paper heavy as a curse. She carried it from New York, across thousands of miles, like a stone pressing against her chest. Each time her fingers graze it, an unseen fear surges, as if opening the letter would tear apart the veil hiding truths she's not ready to face. But tonight, the penthouse's silence becomes unbearable. It crawls under her skin, whispering wordless questions. Why did her mother write to Jameson? How did they know each other? What is this marriage truly? Claire can no longer run. She steps toward the small writing desk in the corner, where a faint golden light bathes the polished wood, beckoning her to confront her fate. With trembling hands, Claire pulls out the letter, its red wax seal faded like dried blood. She hesitates, her fingers tracing her mother's delicate handwriting, those familiar curves that once adorned recipe scraps or loving notes taped to the fridge. But this letter is not for her. It bears Jameson Caldwell's name, written with a care and desperation Claire has never seen from her mother. She draws a deep breath, as if preparing to plunge into an abyss, and breaks the seal. The paper rustles as it unfolds, that small sound echoing in the silent room like an explosion. The opening words cut into her heart like a blade. To Jameson Caldwell, if you are reading this, I trust you have kept your promise. Claire holds her breath, her eyes racing over the lines, each word a shard of a truth she never imagined. Her mother writes of a dark past, a grievous mistake made by Claire's father, a blunder that nearly destroyed their family, stripping them of all they had. But Jameson, the man with eyes cold as steel, stepped into that breach. He bore the consequences, concealed the secret, and safeguarded her family's honor when no one else would. Her mother, in a voice woven with pain and gratitude, pleads with him to continue protecting Claire, to give her a life she could not provide, a life safe from the shadows of their past. Each line is a deeper, sharper wound. Claire feels the floor beneath her sway, as if the world she knew has crumbled to dust. Tears stream down her cheeks, blurring the ink on the page, but she cannot stop reading. Her mother's final plea echoes in her mind, gentle yet merciless. Give her the life I could not. Claire folds the letter, her hands shaking so violently she nearly drops it. She presses the paper to her chest, as if it could hold together the fragments of herself. The truth chokes her. This marriage is not just a cold transaction, not merely a paper signed under a chandelier's glare. It is the cost of an old promise, a debt deeper than she ever fathomed. She sits there, bathed in the desk lamp's dim glow, time seemingly frozen. Memories of her mother flood back, warm embraces, the scent of lavender soap on her clothes, her gentle voice weaving tales of love and sacrifice. But now, Claire sees her mother carried a secret greater than love, one that compelled her to entrust her daughter to a man like Jameson. Why didn't she say anything? Why let Claire enter this marriage blind to its truth? Questions pile up, unanswered, met only by the penthouse's oppressive silence, thick and suffocating. Claire gazes out at the city beyond, its twinkling lights spinning stories she'll never grasp. The letter remains in her hands, delicate yet heavy, like a door to a world she's not ready to enter. This marriage, she realizes, is not just about her and Jameson. It is a thread binding past and present, a promise kept through years of silence, a secret that could unravel everything. She clutches the letter tightly, tears drying on her cheeks, and in that moment, she knows there is no turning back. The truth has been laid bare, and it will shake every foundation she has ever stood upon. The Los Angeles penthouse is so vast that Claire feels she could vanish within it, unnoticed by anyone. 2 days have passed since she read her mother's letter. 2 days where she and Jameson glide past each other like ghosts in a silent dance. Avoiding him is not difficult. He seems intent on keeping his distance, disappearing into locked rooms or brief phone calls, leaving her with the suffocating stillness of this lavish space. The glass walls shimmer, reflecting the city's lights, but they cannot conceal the loneliness that clings to Claire. She moves through the corridors like a specter, bearing the weight of her mother's secret, wondering if there will ever be a moment when she truly belongs here. But one night, as darkness blankets the penthouse and the city outside slips into slumber, a sound pulls Claire from her tangled thoughts. Jameson's low, controlled voice seeps through the crack of his study door, like smoke curling through wood. She doesn't mean to stop. She knows she shouldn't eavesdrop. But her feet root to the floor, her heart racing as his words slice through the air. "I don't care what the board wants," he says, his voice sharp yet restrained. "The deal is off. It's not worth the price her family would pay." Claire holds her breath, her chest tightening as if gripped by an invisible hand. He has just canceled a contract, a major one, she senses from the tension in his voice. Not for personal gain, not for power or wealth, but to protect her family. His words strike like a bolt of lightning, tearing through the cold facade Claire had painted over Jameson. She stands there, her hand pressed against the door, her heart pounding so fiercely she fears he might hear it. Why? Why does he keep doing this, shouldering burdens that aren't his? Without thinking, as if guided by an unseen force, Claire turns and slips into the darkened kitchen. She flicks on the light, a soft glow flooding the space, and begins to make tea, a familiar ritual from her days with her mother, when 2 steaming cups could soothe any pain. The water boils, hissing and bubbling, steam rising like whispered secrets, and Claire prepares 2 cups, one for her, one for him. She almost smiles at her own actions. What is she doing, bringing tea to a man she both fears and cannot fathom? Tray in hand, Claire walks to the study, her heart beating harder with each step. She pushes the door open, the light from the desk lamp casting shadows across Jameson's face, highlighting his chiseled features and deep, fathomless eyes. He looks up, his brow furrowing slightly, a flicker of surprise in his gaze as he sees her standing at the threshold, a fragile figure unsure whether to step forward or flee. Claire sets the tray on the desk, the faint clink of porcelain against wood ringing softly, but clearly in the stillness. She draws a breath, her voice trembling yet resolute. "Why do you keep doing this? Why protect my family when you have nothing left to gain?" Jameson meets her gaze, and in that moment, she sees something shift. Not weakness, but a small crack in the icy armor he's built. He exhales, the breath heavy, as if her question has touched a hidden wound. "Because your mother asked me to," he says, his voice so low it's almost a whisper. "And because I couldn't stop." Those words, simple yet raw, pierce like a ray of light through the darkness, revealing a part of him Claire has never glimpsed. They are not a full explanation, but they are truth. A truth that sets her heart trembling, not from fear, but from a feeling she dares not name. She stands frozen, her eyes searching his, desperate for another sign, another clue to unravel this enigmatic man. Jameson doesn't move, but his hands clench on the desk, as if holding back something greater than words. Claire feels the air between them shift, thick and charged, like the hush before a storm. For the first time, she sees him not as a cold millionaire or a piece of their marriage deal. He is a man carrying the weight of old promises, and in that moment, she realizes the crack in his armor is not a flaw. It is a doorway to a deeper truth, one that could forever change how she sees him. The days drift by in the Los Angeles penthouse, carrying a strange rhythm, as if Claire and Jameson are learning to exist in the same space without truly touching. The silence between them remains thick, but now it holds a different hue. Not the frigid distance of before, but a waiting, like the air before a great rain. Claire spends most of her time by the glass window, gazing down at the city flickering with lights, wondering if anyone out there has ever borne the weight of family secrets as she does. Her mother's letter, with its lines revealing her father's mistake and Jameson's sacrifice, haunts her mind, yet it's not enough to fill the gaps in the story. One afternoon, as pale golden sunlight seeps through the glass walls, an unexpected doorbell shatters the stillness. Claire lifts her head, her heart quickening, a premonition stirring that this moment will change everything. Jameson opens the door, and there stands Harold Grayson, a face from the past Claire had nearly forgotten. He was once her father's business partner, a man whose smile never reached his eyes, who vanished when her family plunged into crisis. Now, he stands in the penthouse, his silver hair disheveled, his eyes heavy with remorse, clutching an old envelope, its edges yellowed as if bearing the weight of years. The three sit around the ebony dining table, the air in the room thick, as if time itself is holding its breath. Grayson places the envelope on the table, his movements slow, as though he fears it might erupt. His voice is low and weary, laced with the regret of things beyond repair. He unveils a truth that freezes Claire in place. Her father was not the sole culprit of the past's mistake, the error that nearly obliterated their family. Grayson, too, was at fault. But when everything collapsed, he chose to flee, leaving Jameson, a young man, ambitious yet steadfast of heart, to stand alone and bear the consequences. Jameson hid the secret, preserved the honor of Claire's family, though he owed them nothing. Claire stares at the envelope, her heart pounding as if it might burst. It is fragile, yet she feels the weight of what lies within. Proof of Jameson's sacrifices. With trembling hands, she reaches for it, her fingers brushing the worn paper. She opens the envelope, revealing pages inside. Cancelled contracts, tense email exchanges, handwritten notes scrawled in haste. All a testament to the bridges Jameson burned, the opportunities he forsake, the ties he severed, all to ensure Claire's family did not crumble under the burden of their past. Each page is a sharp, searing cut, and tears stream down her face, blurring the ink on the words. Jameson, seated across from her, suddenly extends his hand, resting it on hers, stopping her from turning another page. His touch is warm, but his voice is hoarse, as if each word costs him dearly. You don't need to read more. It changes nothing. But Claire shakes her head, her gaze resolute. She must know, must understand the full truth, no matter how much it hurts. She continues reading, each line another blade, revealing how Jameson stood in the fire, not for fame or power, but for a promise to her mother, a vow he kept silent through the years. Her tears fall freely, unstoppable, dripping onto the pages like rain on parched earth. When Grayson rises, he says nothing more. He glances at Jameson, his eyes carrying gratitude laced with shame, then departs, leaving the room steeped in heavy silence. Claire looks up, meeting Jameson's gaze through her tears. For the first time, she does not see a cold millionaire with steely eyes, or a mysterious man in a black suit. She sees someone who chose to stand in the shadows, carrying the mistakes of others, not for personal gain, but for those he never owed. His eyes, once an icy wall, are now a deep lake, where suppressed emotions ripple and surge. She sits there, the envelope still clutched in her hands, feeling as though the floor has stopped trembling, but her heart has yet to find its steady beat. This truth, painful yet radiant, has redrawn Jameson in her mind. He is not just her husband on paper, not merely the keeper of her mother's promise. He is the man who stood in the flames, and in that moment, Claire realizes she can no longer see him as she once did. A door has opened, leading her to a deeper truth, and she knows there is no turning back. The truth from Grayson's envelope lingers in Claire's mind, like a mournful melody that refuses to fade. The cancelled contracts, the opportunities Jameson surrendered to protect her family. Each one a jagged piece of a puzzle that pierces her with pain, yet reshapes her view of him with a newfound gaze. But that truth also leaves a void, an unanswered question gnawing at her. If he sacrificed so much, what is she to his world? A duty? A promise? Or merely a fragment of a deal she has never fully grasped? One night, as moonlight slips through the glass walls of the penthouse, casting silver across the cold floor, Claire passes by Jameson's study. The door stands ajar, and his voice, low but razor-sharp, cuts through the darkness like a blade. She doesn't mean to eavesdrop. She's learned secrets often come at a steep cost, but his words freeze her in place. She's free to leave whenever she's ready, he says, his tone steady yet heavy, as if each word exacts a toll. No, it was never meant to last. Those words stab Claire's heart like an icy dagger, sharp and unforgiving. Every moment they shared, the quiet mornings over tea, the silent glances exchanged in stillness. Was it all a game? A carefully staged play to make her believe she mattered, while he planned for her departure all along? Tears sting her eyes, but Claire refuses to let them fall. She retreats to her room, her movements swift and silent, like a ghost afraid of being seen. In minutes, she packs her belongings. Only a few clothes, an old book, and her mother's silver ring, the sole tether to her past. She leaves the key on the nightstand, its metal glinting under the moonlight like a quiet farewell. No note, no explanation. She only knows she must go, must escape the pain crushing her chest. She flees the penthouse, racing through the frigid city, and arrives at the private airstrip, where the jet first brought her into this life. The runway stretches before her, empty and harsh, a stark reminder that she has no true place to call her own. Claire stands at the edge of the tarmac, the night wind whipping her hair into disarray. She clutches her bag tightly, tears now streaming unchecked down her face. What was she thinking? Believing there was something real between them. that those silent moments held meaning? Then, a voice slices through the darkness, sharp and urgent. "You can't leave like this." Claire turns, her heart pounding as she sees Jameson standing a few steps away, his silhouette etched against the moonlight. His face, usually as cold as stone, now betrays a fear she has never witnessed. His eyes, deep and turbulent, lock onto hers, as if she is the only thing keeping him anchored. Tears blur her vision, but Claire faces him, her voice breaking. "I heard you say I was just temporary." The words spill out, carrying the weight of her pain and betrayal. Jameson steps closer, each movement like crossing an invisible barrier. "It's not what you think," he says, his voice hoarse, trembling, as if fighting to hold himself together. "I didn't want you to feel trapped. I thought if I gave you freedom, you'd stay because you wanted to, not because you had to." His confession, raw and fragile, pulses like a heartbeat laid bare, stealing Claire's breath. She searches his face for any hint of deceit, but finds only a man standing before her, stripped of his cold armor, offering nothing but the truth. "You were never a contract, Claire," he whispers, his voice cracking under the moonlight. "You were the one thing I didn't see coming." Those words crash over her like a wave, sweeping away the walls she'd built around her heart. She stands there, tears falling freely, the world tilting beneath her. Jameson doesn't move closer, but his gaze never wavers, pleading for her to believe him, even just this once. Beneath the silver moonlight, they stand facing each other, two broken hearts, no longer hiding, seeking to mend the wounds they've unwittingly inflicted. Claire feels a spark of warmth pierce her pain. Not forgiveness, not yet, but a possibility. A door cracked open that she hasn't dared to step through. In that moment, she knows that whether she leaves or stays, she will never forget this confession. After that night under the moonlight, when Jameson's raw confession set Claire's heart trembling, she chose to stay. Not out of duty, not because of her mother's old promise, but because a quiet longing had taken root within her, a desire to discover if something true could be built between them. The Los Angeles penthouse, once an invisible prison with its cold glass walls, now begins to glow with the warmth of small, fleeting moments. Claire and Jameson tread a new path, not rushing, not proclaiming grand vows, but taking gentle steps, as if learning to breathe in harmony. Mornings become a sacred ritual. Claire brews tea in the sun-drenched kitchen, steam rising with the delicate scent of chamomile, stirring memories of days spent with her mother. Jameson starts to join her, no longer lingering silently at the threshold, but sitting across from her, sipping black coffee, his eyes quietly studying her as if memorizing every detail. They speak little, but the soft hand-holding beneath the table, the fleeting smiles more genuine than any oath, begin to mend the cracks in their hearts. Each moment is an unspoken promise that they are crafting something, not a contract, not a debt, but an invisible home, a place where both can belong. One day, Claire brings Jameson to New York, returning to the house where she grew up, where memories of her mother linger in every corner. As they step into the backyard garden, her mother, frail and pale, opens her arms to embrace Claire. That hug, warm and steeped in the scent of lavender soap, pulls Claire back to her childhood, when life was simple. Her mother gazes at her, eyes shining with unspoken love, and whispers, her voice thin but steady, "You've found your way back." Those words, gentle yet profound, work like magic, lifting a weight from Claire's heart, as if she has rediscovered herself. That night, in the weathered kitchen of the house, the aroma of chamomile tea mingles with the scent of aged wood, weaving an atmosphere of warmth no mansion could rival. Claire sits beside her mother, while Jameson quietly helps her dry dishes, his shirt sleeves rolled up, his movements slow and deliberate. Her mother hums an old lullaby, off-key but brimming with love, and Claire feels a true peace, not the fleeting calm of her days spent running, but a deep, abiding serenity, as if she has found where she belongs. She steals a glance at Jameson, catching his small, genuine smile, and in that instant, she knows this home is not just the kitchen, but the people beside her. One morning, as the first rays of sunlight spill through the window, Claire silently places a new letter on Jameson's pillow. She stands at the doorway, her heart racing, watching as he opens it. Her handwriting, soft yet resolute, reads, "You were once the man I feared. Now you are the one who gave me my life back." Jameson reads the letter, his eyes gleaming in the sunlight, as if those words have touched a hidden part of him. He looks up, his gaze no longer an icy barrier, but a warm, deep pool, holding gratitude and an unspoken vow. They stand there, a few steps apart, but the distance is no longer a chasm. No debts remain, no secrets linger, only a quiet commitment to a forever they both dare to believe in. As sunlight floods through the window, bathing the room in a gentle golden hue, Claire feels a certainty she has never known. She has found her home, not in lavish mansions or gleaming penthouses, but in Jameson's heart, the man who was once her greatest mystery. He is not just the keeper of her mother's promise. He is the one who chose to stay, who chose her, and who builds with her a future free from the shadows of the past. In that sunlight, Claire knows that, whatever lies ahead, they will walk it together, hand in hand, like two souls who have finally found each other. If this story has touched your heart, hit that like button, share it with someone who believes in unexpected love, and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss the next inspiring millionaire tale. Turn on notifications, because you won't want to miss what's coming next. See you soon.